So previously on Pyramids and Portcullises, you entered this architecture that had risen from the earth, claimed many an adventurer's lives, and subsequently guarded and warded. Traversing along hallway, you met a curious constructed dragon, made out of like metal bronze plates and gears and all that kind of thing. It greeted you and informed that it would function as your host and gate, as well as performing the trials, while someone known as Administrator was busy. Asking what sort of trial it was, it showed you by crashing the ceiling down upon you, declaring that its weight was the measure of your souls and experiences. It waited patiently for you to overcome it when Pastiche just teleports to the other side and move Makayla, who splattered the clockwork dragon against the wall into a million cogs and turned off the lever, allowing the rest to traverse to safety. Let's see, collecting yourselves, you headed up the stairs to encounter a macabre orb formed from bones. Determining what sort of trial this was, you placed all of the skeleton keys in their places to open the doors to the west and the north. To the west, this square room has 3 corners. In those 3 corners, it has a statue of a large man. The man's chiseled and sculpted. The statues seem cut from a different material than the rest of the room. The statues are unique to each other. One holds a book, the other like a spyglass towards the sky, the other appears to be in a grappling stance. Along the walls are reliefs, similar to the ones in the grand hallway you were in earlier. Benches take up the remaining space. There appear to be objects on top of the benches. To the north, you can see through the big door that opened up, is a smattering of bones and gold coins, leading to this warbly blue arch-shaped essence. What would you like to do? As the music changes.
Check out this one. Oh no.
Okay.
This is the room with the different posed statues, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Silly says, "Stand back, I'll handle this." But not actually. And walks into the west. Yeah, so here you are. You are in a just a square room. There's 3 benches. They look like they're not comfortable. But, I mean, they're resting benches all the same. You notice that there is a 90-degree turn hallway to the northeast. Just kind of peeking your head down there, you see that there's a door.
Okay.
What would you like to do here?
She's probably gonna play with the statues. Which one is this one?
That one is the book one. It's
She's gonna like
counterclockwise. It's book, spyglass, grapple stance kind of thing.
Okay. She's gonna cast Spider Climb on herself.
Okay.
And like climb up behind its shoulder to see if she can read over it.
Okay, absolutely. The spider climb will get you where you need to be because this is a big statue. They're like maybe twice the size of each of you guys' forms. Well, you are right there. You don't need a roll anymore. Because you can just get there. Yeah, it's the book reading over its shoulder, just peeking over. The book definitely has writing on it. You are now up close and personal. You can see that it's actually a real book. It's not constructed from stone or anything. It's it is a tome with real pages and everything. There is writing on it. I'll say from its shoulder. Yeah, it's still a big book. It's like probably the size of your waist, like wide.
Dang. Okay.
As it, this giant statue has to hold it in its hands. Let's see. there's a lot of words here. They appear to be like commands or instructions. Go ahead and make an investigation or arcana.
Well, I'm better at that one. Xalia's better at that one. Oh shit.
Yeah, 24 is pretty good. You ascertain that, hey, this is a spell book, like with actual spells written in it. While you're up here, you can get kind of like a smell of like smoke and ozone, and you can see that there's sparks of energy crackling between the edges of the pages. They kind of like flitter a little bit each time it happens. But yeah, it looks like it has different ways to manipulate the arcane weave and create spell effects.
Cool. She's probably going to be studying it for a while. Like, if there's anything new to her, things she can copy down. She'll probably use Mage Hand to like turn pages.
Yeah, there is some stuff. Let's see here. You recognize?
I like to imagine she drew herself, stretched herself out to climb up there, and now she's just kind of like jammed one leg in a corner and the other in another corner, and she's just hanging out in a weird ass position with a book out.
Yeah, you all watch as Xalia just sprints up this. Well, not really sprints, just like slithers up this giant statue and sets herself between, like across its arms and shoulders, and just looks at the book wordlessly. And yeah, Xalia, you a quick glance, you can ascertain that you know one of these spells already. Like you follow along, and the outcome is similar to what you are already practicing, because you put the spell to use a lot, actually. Actually, you know what? Did I make a mistake? You don't actually know the spell. You don't actually know the spell, my bad, but you are familiar with it because it comes from your wand.
Oh, Magic Missile, yes. Yeah.
Okay. There's some other spells here as well, but in order to, they're new to you, so in order to follow their jargon and figure out what they do, you would have to spend probably 10, 20, 30 minutes here, because it's new stuff, and it's not how you're familiar with.
Okay, we'll do that.
Cool. What's the rest doing?
I guess observing the southern statue, southeast. Is there any sort of inscriptions or text, plaques? Any statues, or are these just statues?
Will you make me an investigation check, but also flip a coin?
Okay. I'll do the investigation first, because that's where I am.
Yeah, in the meantime, I think Chuman's gonna at least peek into the other room.
Okay.
Just, heads, I think.
That's
tails.
That's tails, yeah. Okay. So, Makayla, this statue, it's a giant of a man. He's got this big old giant getup, super stout, stocky form. It is kind of the hips are lowered, and they've got this kind of grappler stance. There is an inscription. It is plain to see, but what languages do you know?
Elvish, Common, Dwarvish, Goblin, and Orc.
Okay. Yeah, it just says I love buff men. No, you find an inscription in Common that names the statue of Sudfamir, which is spelled thusly. Sudfunmyr. There's more to it, but the next bit of script is not in a language that you're familiar with.
Okay.
But it's 2 lines.
Would I be able to recognize what language it is, even if I couldn't read it?
With an inscription? With an investigation? let me look up what languages share script.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you that. P2's good. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah. You recognize the letters in the script that's used, but they're arranged in such a manner that it doesn't make sense. So it's close to, like, it's using Dwarvish somehow, but it's not Dwarvish. Like the words and letters that it forms don't make sense. I unfortunately can't give you more than that.
Okay.
But it has a root in
Sure.
the alphabet.
Like they say, yeah. Sure. Linguistic ancestors.
Yeah. Actually, because it has a root, yeah, you can get a couple words. Just like picking out their root words. You recognize the word troll. You recognize the word spider. You recognize the word storm, and you recognize the word seer.
Okay. Cool. Don't know what that means, but neat.
Yeah. Also, with your 18 investigation roll, you notice that something is slightly out of place on this giant statue. On its higher hand, it kind of has like one hand lower, one hand higher in this grapple stance. On its higher hand, on its ring finger, is a ring. It looks
like an actual physical ring.
Like an actual physical ring. It looks out of place.
Huh. Curious. I'm not gonna touch it yet. Good to know.
Could Twig take a look at the inscription as well to see if he could read it?
Sure, what languages do you know?
Common, Thieves' Cant, and Primordial.
Okay. You recognize Sutramir, the nameplate, kind of, but the other words don't really make any sense to you.
Okay.
You haven't seen them before. Yeah, no, unfortunately not.
While Twig and Makayla are checking out that statue, Pastiche is going to approach the one with the spyglass.
Okay. Yeah, this is, if you approach it, it is a behemoth of a man. Big old thing, just holding a spyglass. Kind of like regally, nobly, just looking up, using the spyglass to look kind of like like in acute angle towards the ceiling, more horizontal than up.
Okay.
Give me a. Oh, I imagine you're checking it out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Investigation, please.
Can do.
Okay.
Excellent.
It also has a nameplate, Sutramir in common. There's a couple lines that you are not familiar with the language on. But let's see. Even with a 9, you do notice that the spyglass, as high up as it is not constructed from stone. It looks like it might be. It looks different. It looks out of place. It's like as everything else around here is like sandstone, soapstone stuff. The spyglass that it's holding, the statue holding up and like looking through, it's a different color. It's got like little spyglass rivets. It's got this big old lens, like kind of like reflecting or glinting in the light of the orb in the other room. Not as it just catches it depending on where you're standing. Yeah.
Pastiche is going to try to climb the statue.
Okay. I need an athletics check. With advantage. There's nothing going on with advantage. A 2 and an 18. Yeah, you look around. You pump yourself up. You use what do you have? Rope? I think you have rope or some kind of climbing tools. Everybody does, right?
Probably.
Beginning.
Yeah.
I think I still have my grappling hook, but I don't know if this is an appropriate situation for it.
That's right. You have a grappling hook. Only one person has a climbing kit.
I have spider climb.
You are a climbing kit, Xalia.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Pastiche, you hoist yourself up with some exertion. You get up there and yeah, you can clamber wherever you want. Where do you want to be?
We're gonna kind of sit on this dude's shoulder and try to wrestle the spyglass out of his hand.
You're so high up right now. You are like 10 feet up in the air, 15 feet at shoulder height.
Cool.
I will need a strength check to wrestle the spyglass. Okay. 10's what you needed. That's fine. It's
Nice.
lodged in there a little bit, but as smart as you are, Pastiche, you apply some leverage and some techniques to kind of wedge it out of there. And in your hand is a very large spyglass. You kind of like peek through it. It works. It's a real spyglass. It's made out of just this kind of like poison wood material, or at least that's the look and varnish it has. There's silver bands across it, and it extends and it telescopes and collapses just like a spyglass.
From here, Pastiche is just going to look through it and point it at Xalia.
Okay. By golly, you see Xalia. Xalia, will you help me out with what he sees?
Currently, Xalia is fairly similar to her default, like in the portrait there. She is, however, very stretched out. Like, she's giving herself some additional support and, like, not exactly limbs, but, like, little spines and protrusions to, like, comfortably fit in the crook of the wall between, like, this thing's shoulder and the wall, and, like, the corner. She's like a little tree.
Okay.
And you can see maybe like a letter or two of the book. Then you can see that is a real book that Xalia is reading. And also, as you're looking over there with the spyglass, what also kind of like glints in your view is a ring on the right hand of the giant statue that you were just prying the spyglass from.
Huh.
It's a simple, unadorned ring. It looks like, but it looks out of place, and like because the ring is made out of a metal, and the statue's made out of a stone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So there's a ring on that one as well. That's what you're saying?
Yes, but Makayla's not aware of that yet.
Yeah, I wasn't saying about the character.
I think as they notice that, Pastiche is going to point the eyeglass at the other two statues, looking for a ring on their hands.
Spyglasses give you advantage on perception checks.
Sick.
Nice.
I feel like that should be investigation, but okay.
Also make an investigation check at advantage.
Okay. You want both, or?
Both.
Okay.
The 4 worlds, quad rolls.
You take a look at the one that Xalia is currently on, and if there is a ring, you're not able to sure. She's obviously obscuring it. Obviously, all three of these have rings. You're not sure, but you pointed towards the one that doesn't have people climbing on it, and yeah, this kind of like grabber-looking statue. Yeah, you can see one. You can see Makayla's. No, you can't because spyglass is only. Yeah, you can see one. It takes some like zooming in and out to get the hang of it. But yeah, there is another one over here in plain view, but you're not able to see the one that Xalia is perhaps obscuring.
Right. I think with that, Pastiche will leap down, head over to take a closer look at Xalia's statue.
They'll kind of make a noise as they're coming up to her. Like, extend like a little tendril from her neck to wave.
As you do.
As you do.
Pastiche will wave to the tendril before inspecting the statue.
While that's going on, Chuman, you're heading north. To the north is a smattering of bones. All different kinds of bones, like femurs like bones, elbows, forearms, funny bones, skulls, rib cages, spines. They're just any bone that you can identify, it's here. And you can identify quite a few bones. They're all on the ground. And there's also plenty of gold coins covering the floor. It's leading up to a warbly blue arch-shaped essence. You take a look at it, and it looks as if it were this arch. It looks as if it were standing water, held and contained by an invisible force. You can see orange glows and some sort of contraption beyond it, though the refraction of light through the shifting water makes it difficult to define what truly lies behind. What would you like to do?
Let's see. I think Chuman's gonna at least try to. Actually, quick question: like, can he see the door like through the essence in this situation, or
the essence is the door?
Oh, okay.
Like the lock icon is the door that I'm describing to you.
Okay. I think Chuman will step in to see if there's anything outside of up north that is interesting. He kind of sees this door over to the left side.
Indeed, there is a door to your west. It is closed, of course. And you do see a door to the right, but it looks like it is inoperable, like it's cracked, like there's part of rocks kind of like collapsed in it, just kind of crushing it down. So that way it doesn't look like it is as accessible. But there is a door to the west as you make in and head left. It has a nice little scarab engraving on it.
Shortly after Chuman leaves the room, Mitch leaves his perch and follows.
Hot, hot.
Just flaps around a bit.
I think Chuman's gonna try the door to his left. Just see if he can open it normally, and if you can't, kind of like try and like force it a little.
Okay, give me a strength check.
Okay. Check.
15. Let's see. What is your strength score?
It is 14.
Okay. You try to open this door. It budges a little bit, but try as you might, you can't get it to kind of like click over, question mark, and just like release and open entirely. So like it kind of like resists a little bit and then comes back. You push into it again, it kind of like sponges back and then comes back. It seems like it is not locked, but your strength is not enough.
Let's see. I think Chuman will actually check one of the gold coins that's on the floor.
Sure. Your passive perception's pretty good, and also it's boosted by your hunter stuff. Or your
Yes.
Gloomstalker stuff. So yeah, you pick up one of the coins, and as you pick one up, kind of like roll it over your hand and your fingers, and you look around at the rest of the coins. The coins look like they've been arranged in some purposeful design. The coin itself is polished, shiny, even. It is a piece of gold.
He's gonna stab it with the dagger, just to make sure it's not a scarab.
Yeah, sure. Make an attack roll on gold coin. If you roll a 1, you hit yourself. Yeah, you like take your dagger and just like slice on it a bit. It does not reveal itself to be a horde scarab. It is a gold coin with now a slice on it.
Let's see.
You are 1 gold piece richer.
I think after realizing that it's not one of the gold coin scarabs, Chuman's gonna slowly take a closer look at the essence up north.
Okay.
See if he can spot anything, any particular details about it.
Sure, give me a perception check or investigation, whichever.
Alright. Well.
Okay, as you move forward, you do notice that the bones seem kind of clustered towards this this essence or portal or whatever, and they kind of like, the way they're formed goes around the arrangement of gold coins.
As in, they're not touching any other gold coins?
Correct.
Okay.
And you find yourself currently standing in. Well, let me back up. You acknowledge that they are arranged in some kind of design. You acknowledge that they are arranged in kind of like a skull form. There's like bits of like the bits are scooped out to form like the eye sockets and the nose sockets. You're currently standing in like the right eye socket in the middle of a pile of gold coins. And as you move forward cautiously, trying to check out this warbly essence, you hear something. There is a voice that comes to you. With a 12, you're not quite able to place where it is. It seems to kind of echo around in front of you. It's actually somewhat encouraging. It says it's a whisper on the wind. It says, "Stride forward confidently."
Let's see. I think because the Chuman's not actually expecting a voice to... it's just in his head, correct?
You hear this with your ears.
Right, okay. I think Chuman kind of believes that it may have been in his head, so he's like looking around for a moment. A little frantic to see if everyone else came into the room or something.
No, you were all alone. Oh, there's an owl here. Flapping about.
I got it. Chuman is he's gonna take the gold coin that he sliced, and he's gonna flick it over to the Warbly essence.
Okay. So you use the word flick. Are you just kind of like doing the thumb thing? Or you...
Yeah.
Okay. So you are. You're currently some distance away, so it takes like a bit of exertion. It kind of like. I haven't seen anybody like flip a coin 15 feet, 20 feet.
Alright, well, for the sake of it, we'll toss it.
Okay. So you huck it towards the warbly blue stuff, and it kind of slows down for a moment, and then like it slowly spins, and then pops out. You don't see it anymore. It may have traversed to the other side, you're not sure.
Oh. In that case, I think Chuman will pick up one of the bones next to him on the east, and then try the same thing.
Okay. Yeah. Zoop. Hugs through. Does it? It contacts this warbly essence, stops for a moment, and just like slowly spins with the momentum of your throw, and drops out of sight. It's a larger object this time, so I think you can see it kind of like drop to the floor at the end of your throw on the other side, but it's difficult because of how the refraction of light works with water.
Right.
And the water is always shifting as well. It makes water sounds. Like splashing sounds when you do this.
Right.
You hear a voice continuing, perhaps, the sentence. It's just another little whisper around the room. It says, "Relentlessly in the direction of your dream."
Let's see. I think Chuman doesn't see anything else in particular. He's gonna at least back out of the room and then go check the other room with the rest of the group.
Okay.
He's kind of like walking backwards as he's walking and looking. Or let me rephrase that. He's scanning the room as he's walking backwards out of it.
Okay, perception. Alright.
15.
There's an owl. An owl landed like in the other eye socket for a moment, looked around, hooted, and then is following you as well as you leave. Oh, actually no, the owl stays there in the socket. So you observe that Mitch is here. You see the bones a bit. A 15. Make a wisdom save.
Got these.
Alright.
18.
The bones are still. The gold coins are still. The only thing that's moving is this warbly portal. Looks like it could be made out of water. It's obscuring what's behind it because it's difficult to see past it. The room is still. You don't hear any voices anymore as you head out. And as you return to the group, what is going on in this room? As Chuman walks in.
I'm reading over here. She's like, her torso is like stretched out so she can get a closer look at like bracing off the tree body in the corner.
Okay. I'll say probably 10 minutes have gone by. Roll me a, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. roll me a d8.
Okay.
Let's see. After your 10 minutes of study, you acknowledge that there is a particular way to invoke a clap of sonic energy and thrust it forward to have an effect on the area in front of you. The spell Thunder Wave is in this spell book.
Interesting.
And there's
very evocation focused.
Yeah, there's more. Yeah. With your Arcana check as well, it is you skim, and indeed, it is very evocation focused. All of these are ways to invoke or evoke the Arcane Weave.
She'll kind of nod and just pull herself up and curl up on the shoulder. She's trying to read while she can, but I mean, she's not like spider climbing anymore. She's just literally sitting on its shoulder.
Did Pastiche take the ring off of the other statue?
Nope.
The magnifying glass one, or
They did not.
Okay.
They're just looking at the Xalia statue for another ring right now.
Okay.
Perception.
Have you all found anything within this room?
Pastiche, there is not a ring. You have only found two.
Okay. Chuman. Just some statues.
Yes. Seem to have items placed in them, or on them, I suppose. A bit odd. You checked out the other room, right? What was in there?
Oh, only briefly, and did not want to move to the north too much. I threw a gold coin, and luckily there wasn't any golden scarabs for us to deal with again.
That's good.
However, it seems like it was a watery, like, substance up ahead. I threw a gold coin and a bone, and they both slowed down until they just dropped onto the ground. There was also a voice. I thought it was
Voice?
you. Yes. It's a strange voice. I couldn't place it.
What did it say?
Well, it mentioned about striving forward, and then there was the second one. I heard it much more clearly that time. Mentioned about relentlessly heading in the direction of your hopes and dreams.
Well, did you respond?
What do I respond to? There was nothing else in there except for the essence.
Well, something greeted you.
I mean, we've met and interacted with psychics before. Could have, I guess, mentally tried to respond to them.
I suppose you're right.
Oh. Well, if they're still waiting around. Just hope it's not that stupid dragon thing again. Anyways, and yeah, oh, Sigma.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was muted.
Well, at any rate, I could see about the essence if someone were to accompany me. Last thing we need is to be in trouble and blocked off.
Yes, because we should. That seems to be the way forward for now, but somewhat curious about these statues.
I could check it out.
Seems like Xalia is quite enjoying their book.
She's having a great time.
You said the statue, the one that used to have a magnifying glass, was looking upwards, right? Like looking. Can I kind of get underneath it and try and follow its eyes, quote unquote, to where it was sort of looking at on the ceiling?
Sure. Make a perception check with advantage.
Okay, a 16. Sorry, that's not my perception check. It rolls about 16. 24.
Yeah, 24 is pretty good. You notice, trying to follow its eye and trying to see where the spyglass would be looking for, you notice that there's a ceiling. It's made out of sandstone. I'm just kidding. No,
Not another one.
There's a hole.
Oh. Well, there is another way in and out, I guess.
It's a small
Not
hole.
the only way forward. Or how small?
Probably as big as your palm.
Okay. There is points towards the roof. It's a small hole, maybe just big enough for Mitch to fly through, at most.
A hole, you say? Pastiche will sort of look up.
They will look up and, after a moment, climb up the wall to the hole.
And everyone looks up. Finally, there are 6 dark mentals that. No, I'm just kidding. Xalia goes over to the hole. It's a hole. Do you have dark vision?
No.
It's dark.
Does she have anything she can do about that? No. Cool.
Just then, Mitch swoops in over Chuman's shoulder and ascends towards the ceiling.
Canals.
They will let him in.
Right this way, it might get
How
buried.
polite.
I mean, she'll playfully nip at his tail feathers as he goes by, but
Can elves hover?
$1 million question.
I mean, in real life, no, but
Alright, it doesn't matter. I just wanted to pose a funny question.
Flip coin.
Yeah. Let's see. So the owl goes over and Mitch has dark vision, right?
Yeah,
I need a perception check.
Mitch is good at these.
A regular one because it's dark. Which is advantage.
Wait.
So, making a perception check in dim light, which is what dark vision turns darkness into,
Oh, okay.
is at disadvantage. And I actually should have been calling disadvantage for you guys this entire time because this is all dim light. I just now realized.
Let's see clearly.
Someone had a torch, maybe not.
Okay. Good job, Mitch. That is a 20. Yeah. It is a tube that goes along the ceiling into the angle that the spyglass was peering in. There is a... Let's see, owls. Mitch sees something.
Yeah.
Tells you that there is a glint at the end of his vision.
Pastiche will order Mitch to try and squeeze in there.
Okay. Mitch is unhappy about this. Shoots you like an I'm mad owl glare at you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to, but okay, fine. You're the boss. And then Mitch uses the squeeze rules of D&D and gets in there. Kind of shuffling along this cramped tube. You hear complaints from Mitch the entire time, and like everyone that isn't like attuned telepathically to this owl, you just hear squawks, like unhappy hoots.
Bailey repeats the noise back.
And they get to this glint. They identify it as some kind of rock or stone. It's hard material.
Twig, you said did you all accompany you in the room?
Oh, sure. I could help you check it out. Will Mitch be okay though?
Of course. He's quite used to this.
I see.
You hear a squawk of annoyance, and Mitch pecks with his beak at this thing, trying to like do something or like attack it or dislodge it just out of spite. And there is a rumbling of stone, just like a.
The good kind of rumbling?
Yeah.
Are you sure that Mitch is fine with this?
Pastiche will like look to Chuman to acknowledge him, then look back up to the hole. Keep at it, friend. And Mitch will continue to peck at this stone.
Yep. Peck.
If Pastiche says it's fine, then I'm sure it is.
Alright. Well then, let us see us about this essence. Chuman heads back into the other room.
Good luck, you four. Twig will head out with Chuman.
Alright. Yeah, Twig, you too. You see this, we'll just say arrangement. You see what's going on in this room. There's this warbly blue essence, looks like water, just kind of shifting, standing up, defying gravity. You can see stuff on the other side of it. Orange looks like there's some kind of structure. You see, or Chuman points out to you that the bones are kind of like mashed towards the portal, and the gold coins form a skull on the ground. How nice.
Chuman steps forward and grabs one of the coins on the ground. Take a look. As he chucks it straight ahead into the essence.
Roll me a d20, Chuman.
D20. 18.
Okay, cool. Yeah. The coin behaves as you expect. It goes whoop, and then kind of slowly moves through the portal as if caught in something, and then
Does it look like it falls to the ground or it disappears?
Looks like it falls to the ground on the other side, now that you know what you're looking at.
Okay. Huh.
Ever heard of anything like this? Never seen it before.
I can't admit I have. Twig will step a bit closer to try and get a better look at like what's inside.
Okay. As you move forward, you hear the whispers that Chuman was speaking of. They say the same things. Stride forward confidently, relentlessly in the direction of your dream. As you keep going, you hear another line, a leap of faith from flaming wings.
What was that last word? From flaming
wings.
Wings.
And stopping in front of this gently undulating barrier of water, just crunching no small amount of bones or like swooping them aside with your talons. As you get closest to it without touching it, you hear, "Come back for us."
Twig will think in his mind. Is anyone there? Who's speaking?
There's no response.
Okay.
Chuman, you hear these lines too, with your ears.
Okay. It does not seem as if a psychic is calling out to us. It feels as if it's something else.
I think Twig's gonna take out his multi-tool, the toy wooden sword, and he's just gonna like poke it into the watery orb.
Okay. Nothing happens. It doesn't make any sound because jabbing a surface of water with a pointy object does not make any sound. I just tested that. And yeah, it breaks the surface of this portal, and you guys shade that like this is probably water. It doesn't cause any problems with the surface. It just flows over it, just as if you're holding something in an ocean. It doesn't try to take it away any more so than just the waves gently pull at your grasp.
Well, I heard the voice as well. It said to stride forward and take a leap of faith. I think it's probably wants one of us to walk into it.
Alright. Well then, I shall do the honors unless you want to.
Just 1 second. Twig's just gonna try this door. See? It's locked.
Yeah, it opens.
Oh. Twig will just like call into the other room. If you're looking for us, we'll be in the orb.
In the what?
And then
She is just looking confused since he tried the door and it didn't move.
it's a rogue's touch.
Alright.
So I'm sure nothing will happen anyway.
Right. Oh. I suppose we head in. Let's find out what this water orb is in front of us. Then Chuman steps forward into it. Preemptively holding his breath because it looks like water.
Okay. Sure. You press yourself against the water and attempt to move through it, and you do so easily enough. The water glazes over you like a film, simultaneously dry and wet. It curls around your extremities and leaves you with a slimy, yet fresh sensation. Twig, you can see Chuman on the other side of the door, or archway, or portal, or something. You can see his form, and he's looking around, head moving side to side. What do you do, Twig, in this moment?
Seeing that it seems to have worked, Twig will follow him in.
Okay. Same sensation. And we'll come to you guys in a sec.
Okay.
Xalia, Pastiche, and Makayla. What are you guys up to? This Al is unhappy.
Xalia's gotten bored with the evocation book and she's checking out this hallway.
Okay.
On the wall, of course.
Oh, yeah. Roll me a d8, though.
Okay. It's not going. I'm hitting enter and it's not.
It's rolling for us.
Okay.
Your first one was a 7. This one is during the time that your allies have been spent harassing an owl and performing animal cruelty. You are able to ascertain that this is an incantation that, an evocation that will conjure, will create like a wall of arcane abjuration. It just it springs into existence at a point that you choose, and it just allows you just to create just a wall of magical kinetic energy, and you can put it anywhere you like. It's similar to your shield spell, and it prevents things from passing through it. Just absolutely. It is of it is of a magical circle that you are not versed in yet.
She'll probably write that one down because it sounds vaguely interesting.
That would take you several hours.
Well, I mean, like Cliff Notes sort of deal, not copy it fully.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then she'll go check out over here.
Okay. Probably during your reading of this book, you may have touched it once in a while. It jostles a bit, and you realize that you could take it with you.
Isn't it fucking huge?
It is.
She'll push it out of while she's hanging up there. She'll push it out of its hand and just let it drop to the floor.
Slam. There are gold coins going everywhere. Just.
Kayla would jump and react to the sudden loud sound. Done with the book.
Bailey's gonna nod and just again wander off to check out the hallway.
Yeah. I mean, while this all been happening, I think Makayla would try and get as close of a look as possible. Maybe request the magnifying glass to look at the rings themselves to try and see if there's anything that seems of note. Or
yes, here you go. I'm not using it right now.
Thank you. They're just trying to inspect if it's why are only these 2 rings here, right?
Perception
why do they exist? Alright. Alright, 25.
25 is pretty good, and with the magnification of this spyglass, you pointed at these rings. They are kind of like a silver or a gray in color. They are not ornamented, but there appears to be like a couple scratchings.
Are they like inscriptions or? Oh, okay, of words, yeah.
Yeah, so scratchings of words around the ring. I mean, it goes all the way around. You're only able to see one area, so you're not able to put together. But it is in, like, you get full view of it. It's using a similar script to the one that you know the root language of.
They can't actually understand.
They can't actually understand it. And similar to the other one. They appear to be made out of some kind of metal rather than stone.
How high up are they?
The statues of a giant, they're like 10, 15 high.
Yeah.
But it's like 15 feet high.
If I were to use my swarm hand, would that be able to like push it off, or is it too tightly on the finger?
Only one way to find out.
I mean, I'm trying, yeah.
Yeah, your spectral...
So Vulture tries to like pick it off, like kind of push it off the how tightly is it on this finger?
Spectral Vulture kind of like picks and like claws at it with its talons and like uses its beak to move it along. Yeah, it comes off easy enough. It is definitely not part of the structure. And the Vulture flies it down, flies one of them down to you, and then drops it in your hand. It's tingly. It's also more of a bracelet for you.
Oh, that would make sense, yeah. Size-wise. I mean...
You can, so it feels tingly.
You're saying it's like it is magical, or has like a tingly effect to it.
Yeah, anytime I say like things are tingly or like they have that kind of like electrical sensation, that's you guys as an adventurer immediately knowing things are magical.
Okay.
You can also sense a kind of tug pulling, like it's not forceful, but like there's just kind of like nagging kind of thing towards the other one.
Alright. Well,
like you're overly aware of it.
I don't immediately feel cursed by holding this, right? So, yeah, Makayla's gonna go towards the other one and do the same.
Sure.
And take it off.
Alright.
There wasn't any like reaction in like the statue or like the room when I took it off.
No,
just kind of came off.
The statue if there was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yoink. You now hold in your hand 2 platinum rings, but bracelets?
Yeah.
They are, they're obviously magical. And you can...
Okay, well... I wouldn't know what they would do unless I would to...
Correct.
Like, attune with it, right? And that takes a short rest, so...
No, attuning in my adventures are as soon as you like do this. If it's like some kind of crazy storied legendary item, just to review the rules, like that has a story behind it, you attune to it immediately upon touching it or like grabbing it properly.
Okay.
If it's just like a regular magical item that has just been enchanted by somebody, you acknowledge that it is magical, but you don't. If you want to attune to it, you just like put it on or like use it in a fashion thing. I think what I'm trying to say is attuning doesn't require a short rest. It's like an action.
Sure. Okay. Well, here's the bad ideas. I'll just put one of them on one of my wrists, I guess.
Okay. You sense like an awareness of the other bracelet. It goes onto your wrist pretty easily. It seems to change its shape and size to be comfortable and firm and like doesn't go anywhere on your wrist. So you now have a platinum bracelet. You feel this kind of awareness towards the other one, but some kind of like longing sensation, some kind of feeling of teamwork, some kind of
I would put on the other one.
some kind of partner-esque. Put on the other one?
Yeah.
Okay.
One on both hands.
Alright. It doesn't... you still feel the sensation.
Okay.
Nothing like lights up or anything.
I think... indulge me for a second, Pastiche, and put this one on. Hand one over.
Well, I don't see why not. Pastiche will slip it on.
Okay. You place this bracelet over it, and again, it changes its size, shape to fit your unique wrist. And there is a flash of electrical current between the two, and you are now attuned to each other. And there is a sense of camaraderie, a sense of partnership, a sense of teamwork, and you both are now affected by the spell Warding Bond, which means that
That's not good.
one of you has +1 AC. You can, we'll say Pastiche has +1 AC, because being given the gift, and also a +1 bonus to all saving throws. And Pastiche, you have resistance to all damage, and all damage types.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, every time you do take damage, you get the sense that Makayla is sharing in your pain, and will suffer that damage.
Okay.
Yeah. Is this a persistent effect, or is this something that can be turned off? Do I feel?
You get the sense that it's on while you wear the bracelets.
Okay. I think I know this magic, and I am not sure if it is the wisest for us to be using it right now.
Are you certain? I actually feel quite nice.
I'm sure you'd feel great, but I am not the best one to be on the receiving end of the spell.
Well... Do you think one of our other allies would like it?
In this party, I think you legitimately are, Makayla.
I have... Just curious, what is everyone's max HP? That's mine.
35.
Okay. Because, I mean, without... I know I have the highest AC now, but... Without,
I've got a whopping 46.
Wow, only 3 less than me. Yeah, no, we're a bunch of squish people.
I'm at 48, making Makayla the tank.
Dang, Chuman looking kind of buff.
Chuman stacked.
Yeah, you think about Chuman for a bit, and you realize how swole he's gotten.
Those climbing checks really came in. Well.
I assume by this point, I haven't heard any more rumbling caused by a certain bird's pecks.
No, you have not.
Okay.
Mitch will telepathically communicate to you that it seems like it was some kind of device, and it is now recessed and can't get at it, can't bite it. It's upset at this. Demands hungry.
I guess we should rejoin the others. We do have a pursuer after all.
Yes, of course. Pastiche will retrieve Mitch from the hole. Dust him off a little.
Boot.
And head toward the hall.
Okay. Makayla, you are also probably by now on the other side of this archway. Sorry, not Makayla, Xalia. Yeah, so I'll just put everybody on the outside here, because everyone's walking through. So as you three walk over these gold coins and past the bones, crunch on them, you hear all these. You hear these lines whispered to you, and traversing on, you enter the next room.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Oh.
So, in this room, let's see here. Then you see, okay, so you see the room you're in. In the four corners are strange statues of hands holding something. There are exits in each cardinal direction. The west one is a door. In the middle of the room is a raised platform by 3 steps. Surrounding this platform are several large glowing runes. On the raised platform is a golden cage attached to the ceiling. Easily seen through the planks of metal making up this cage is a figure reclining on a stone chair. The figure appears swathed in armor from head to toe. What would you like to do?
Xalia is going to shapeshift to give herself a bunch of pseudo armor to match this guy.
Okay.
It's very Xalia core pseudo armor, but it's fake armor. / glam it. Let's use a glam plate.
Yeah. Xalia suddenly creates like a chitinous, sinewy shell around herself.
I love that word, Xalia core.
You can't tell where her body ends and the armor, like the clothes armor begins.
Still littering the floor are gold coins. They're a little bit more sparse now, but they're still everywhere. Like you can't take a step without stepping on or kicking one. But overall, you're in a sandstone room with the previously described details.
is the suit of armor like reacting at all to our presence?
No.
Is it even facing us?
Yes.
Okay.
He's gonna walk up and wave at it.
Wave. Nothing happens.
Does this suit of armor look familiar?
It walk up and do a history check. Both you and Xalia.
Oh, okay. Hi, Sigma.
Someone's like, what up?
Sigma's like lap time.
Okay, an 18. Twig, this arrangement of armor is not familiar to you. Like, your mind immediately goes back to, what if this is another,
Why are you so
incarnation
yelly?
of that stalker that's after you in your group? And it is not. This looks less animal, less jackal inspired, and more humanoid. But you're not familiar with, like you haven't seen anybody just decked out in this much armor. Xalia, however, this is vaguely familiar to you. There's this like nagging doubt in the back of your head that you have seen this armor before.
Okay. Can she poke at it? Like try to say, okay, where? Contextualize it. What time frame? What context?
Yeah. It would have been on a previous adventure. It was when you were traveling with a dwarf and and a Dragonborn, the rest of that party. Roll me another history check with advantage.
Okay. Hi, kitty. Being a cat, sorry.
You're not quite able to place it, but you've definitely like encountered somebody wearing this armor before.
He's gonna frustratedly walk around in circles around this thing.
As Xalia paces around the structure, Pastiche is going to approach it and just try to touch it.
There is a like a forceful like kinetic repel when you try to go and touch it. There appears to be a barrier of force around this cage that is preventing you from accessing it. While you're over here, the music changes.
That way.
There you go.
Caleb would kind of scope the perimeter of the room. So there were signs? Or statues? What exactly were in the corners?
In the corners are statues. They're a little weird. They're strange. They're hands that are holding things. As you walk over and take a look, the thing that they are huge hands. Like it's as wide. Ouch! I hurt myself. It's as like they're big. They're kind of similar to the statues in the other room. They're wide hands, like maybe almost as wide as you are, and they're grasping. They come up to your torso. And they're grasping what look to be pointed weapons, but it's vaguely shaped like a thunderbolt or a lightning bolt.
Interesting. And look across the room at like the other ones the same, or do they look like they're holding something else?
They all appear to be similar. And you just massive giant hand holding a lightning bolt. They all appear to be pointed towards the center.
Interesting. Does it at all look as if it's I guess rotatable? Or is it like
rotatable?
Like
yeah, like you give it a heft, and no, it does not look like these ones rotate.
Very interesting. Right. Well, if
actually,
that thing is...
sorry to interrupt. Before you continue on, holding onto them, like it kind of makes your hair stand on end. Like your hair kind of like rises up as you become charged with static electricity, and like you get goosebumps holding onto it. But like no harm comes to you. Just that happens.
Makayla probably like very quickly, as if like touching, something really hot, would snap back away from it, just as sort of like a reaction from the lever from earlier. But then say, well, if whatever is in there is being trapped, it might be wise to leave it that way.
Xalia, as you walk around, you notice an addition to this armor-clad figure that you are not familiar with. It looks like it has like these large kind of like stalks or palps coming out of its back, and they're bladed in such a manner to resemble wings.
You mage hand to like fiddle with them.
Let's see. You mage hand and send it towards the creature, and then the mage hand is like expelled and dissipated by this wall of force. Can you put Mage Hand in the chat?
Yeah, sure. Do forgive, I have a restricted hand motion right now. For unknowable reasons, involving being too hot.
Okay, and then, so you conjure the Mage Hand next to you, and then send it in. This barrier of force kind of dissipates your Mage Hand when you move it towards it. It goes, and then you conjure your Mage Hand inside the barrier, just right next to the entity sitting, and just mess with it. You just squeaks when you mess with the wings. They appear to be, they appear to be movable, rotatable. There's no response from this suit of armor.
You're gonna pat it on the head, give it a little hair tussle.
Okay. Pat. It feels like it did a good job. Nothing happens. But you hear like the clang clang on its helmet.
I think Chuman's gonna inspect this hallway down to the east.
Down to the east? The east, you say? East is a corridor. You go down looking around with your improved vision from stalking the gloom in years past. You see one of the doors, like it's a narrow hallway. It's kind of cramped, only big enough for one person. To your right is a collapsed door. You can see at the end of the hallway is a basin that's containing water. You can see some kind of like many-armed engraving from your current position, and you can see a door to your left as you walk down this hallway.
Does the water in the basin have the similar glow effect as the watery essence from when we walked through?
It's faint, yeah, but it's similar.
Okay. I think Chuman's gonna see if he can open the door.
Okay. Yeah, you push on it. It is a stone door, and you kind of you brace yourself and grab it from the left, ascertaining that it's a slide door, and then you pull it open, and you reveal a place that is somewhat unorganized. There's several workbenches here. One holds a crumpled and folded, like almost like somebody balled up a piece of paper and just threw it on the thing, but it's huge. It's a big parchment the size of the workbench. Another workbench holds several construction and excavation tools like chisels, soft brushes. There's a like a set of gear for climbing. It has all the necessary things in there. Another has a strange looking sheet of metal that kind of spirals around and is attached to a sword hilt. And then next to it, giving off a faint glow of light, is a cracked, like it's big cracked, sphere, and it's giving off a faint light. It's resting inside like the cup or the mouth of a chalice, which is golden. That's what you find in here.
Does it look like, I guess, someone has been recently in this area? Or does it look like it's been there for a long time?
Roll a survival check.
Survival.
Okay.
14.
14 is decent. You're not super sure. It does look like both. Like some of the stuff is recent, some of it looks very old, like that cracked sphere. But the chalice looks new. The crumpled, like the workbenches are dustless, but the things on top of them have dust. So it's a confusing set of situations here.
I think Chuman. You said that the sword and the hilt, or not the hilt. The sword was nearby the chalice.
Yeah, the thing that is it's a sword hilt, and then coming from it is a really strange. It is a really strange thing. It's like it's a very thin sheet of metal that, like, it's paper thin, and it kind of like folds over on itself, spirals. Like it looks like as if you rolled out like a huge sheet of parchment, and it's just everywhere. But it's metal.
I think Chuman is going to walk over and inspect both of them, the chalice and the sword hilt.
Okay.
Strange sword hilt.
Yeah, sword hilt. It's as described. And then the chalice. Yeah, it's a regular cup. It looks to be golden. It's bedazzled with a couple small jewels here and there, and it is holding a cracked little orb. It is faintly glowing. The orb is kind of like it's kind of like the color of like a daylight light bulb. It's like that cool color, that certain temperature. You know?
Okay.
Like not the yellow incandescent, but the white LEDs.
The cool white.
Yeah, the cool white. That's what it looks like.
I had set that at the second, but the sword hilt that has the sheet metal. Does Chuman remember if the suit of armor has a similar plating? Or anything similar, at least, to the two?
No. The suit of armor, from your vantage, like, this is clearly different. The sheet of metal that's attached to the sword hilt it's flat. It is a steel color. And it's just been pounded flat. The other stuff in the suit of armor in the other room, it is not a steel color, even though that's what the token is. It's kind of like a brass. So it appears to be made of different metals.
Okay. I think for the most part, Chuman is gonna grab the sword hilt and kind of mess around with it.
Okay.
Like kind of give it a swing just to see how different it feels. And then he's gonna
awfully. It's like you're swinging like pasta. It goes and it makes like metal noises, like thunder noises. It is extremely sharp. You do confirm that. You almost cut yourself and like harm yourself as it just whirls and whips around as you're just flailing this like a ribbon. It almost comes back and slaps you in the eye.
Still reach on it.
It's pretty long. It's got an 8-foot blade.
Oh,
Or
wow.
8-foot sheet of metal, whatever it is. Blade is in quotes.
Let's see. I think Chuman will probably like take the sword hilt, at least like hold on to it for a little bit,
Okay.
and then continue looking around the rest of the room while the other party is still doing their things.
Okay, for now, just put a regular whip in your inventory. From the item compendium. Just for now. Until you decide to let go of it or do something else with it. What's the rest of the party doing?
I open this door and peek through.
Okay. I open the door. Let's see here.
Whoa.
West.
Twig's peeking too.
So, as you open the door, your sense of hearing is immediately overcome with frantic mutterings and panicked worries. Your sense of smell is burned with like caustic chemical, kind of like, what's the word? We'll do it abstract. Like some kind of like caustic chemical thing mixed with nervousness. And you push open the heavy stone doors, and you reveal a dizzying amount of contraptions. There's vials, scripts, papers. This workshop is crammed. The vials glint darkly in hundreds of colors, it's like atop like any flat surface. There's papers strewn across the floor. There's two large cylinders surrounded by a ganglia of alembics and receptacles that each hold a dark, vaguely humanoid form. And hanging free from the ceiling on cords are those pink crystals again, dragon shards, emitting this eerie glow in the dim light. The floor is covered in wires and brass tubing. Amid the equipment is a darkened form, fretting and rushing from one thing to another, crying in anguished whispers. It's rather smooth in its movements when you notice it is floating. So it's just like going like wee. It's just freaking out to itself quietly.
Huh. Oh. I would hazard a guess that like sort of whisper to Twig next to me. I'd hazard a guess this is this workshop. But the amount of things in this place. This one room alone could take days to go through.
If you
could even stomach the smell. What were we about to say?
The figure doesn't like seem to have noticed us, right?
Make a stealth roll. Both of you.
The Fable stealth roll.
A 29.
Just maybe.
I'm 11.
Alright. The creature upon the heavy stone door grating across the sandstone, and followed by the hushed whispering between you two, but probably like it turns upon hearing the huge door. This smoky creature turns and observes you with a countenance permanently racked with horror. It just looks panicked, freaked out constantly. It looks disheveled, unsure, and it speaks to you. It speaks in this hurt and downtrodden voice. And it says, no, this isn't be known. You can't know. And then I need everybody to roll initiative because it's lunging at you.
Sisters.
Do I roll initiative even though I'm like across?
Looking for
you hear this
administrator. I was like, hello, creature. We were looking for administrator, and then it like runs at me.
Yeah, then it just like rushes at you.
My roll is indicative to how far away I am.
Alright. Let's see here.
How are you closer than I am?
Perceptive hearing.
It's the smell. It's getting to you.
Okay. Let's see. 4. Boop, boop. All right, let's get into this. So what happens immediately is it's just yelling, shrieking, just cryptic phrases of doom, threatening to harm you. Your flash just it's recounting everyone being destroyed. I need Makayla, Twig, Pastiche, you three to make a charisma saving throw.
Uh-oh.
So 1 from Twig, 16 Makayla, and 11 Pastiche.
As it shrieks, "You can't know!" at you, the power that it has behind its voice yelling at you, Twig and this is against fright. If anybody has a bonus to fright,
I have advantage on rolls against
roll
fear.
again.
That's better.
I saw that almost won. I saw that fucking almost won.
The power behind its voice as it yells and echoes around the room through the other room and reaches Chuman all the way at the other end of the hallway. Pastiche, you are frightened. And also, while you are frightened in this manner, all saving throws using wisdom or intelligence are made with disadvantage.
Gotcha.
Which brings us to Xalia. As this shriek of this calamitous shriek echoes across. Your attention is snapped over to the west, and you see this smoky figure shrieking at your party members. What would you like to do?
I think it's pretty straightforward what she'd like to do. She's gonna move over here, and I assume actually I haven't been tracking charges on my wand very closely. When was the last time I used it? I think it's been a while. Yeah.
It's been a while. The last time you used it was in the market.
I don't even remember that much. So can I take
It's
it as
been
full?
days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been days. You ostensibly have rolled high on your recharge, so yeah, it's full.
Okay. She's going to blast it with like 3 charges.
Cool. Pew pew pew.
So that is down to 4, which is how many magic missiles? That is a level 3 version of it, which is 5 missiles, I believe.
Okay, go ahead. Roll your
That was 5d5, not d4.
full d5s. Did you get this from
Yeah.
Essex?
Yeah.
Alright, 17 damage. Cool. Yeah, force damage. You quickly brandish your wand, and then that you got from that you've been lugging around since.
Yeah.
since
it's an old friend. Yeah.
And then pew 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 pew. Arcs
Just pew pew pew. Yeah.
and darts of energy collide with this creature, and you deal 17 force damage. So there's little puffs and piffs of the force colliding into it. Yeah. Cool. What else you got?
Not much else. That's her turn.
Okay, it doesn't like that very much.
I assumed as much.
It dislikes that so much that at the end of your turn it's going to yell out to the 2 in the doorway here, and is going to yell out, "You can't understand. I'll make you understand." And I need you guys to roll me something. It is a wisdom saving throw against charm.
Is there everyone?
Just the 2 in the doorway.
Okay.
18.
Okay. Twig. Makayla, you are a little bit confused on what it's trying to say. Twig, suddenly, Makayla is your enemy. She's been leading you on this entire time, and by golly, she's got to go down before you move. There's like a it's screaming at you with such force that like the wind blast moves your feathers and your hair back a bit. Yeah, Makayla, whatever it's doing, it just seems like it's mad. It's just yelling at you constantly. It has no inside voice. But Pastiche, what would you like to do?
Pastiche is going to initially make an attempt to move towards the doorway.
Seems real scary.
Realize their legs have become jello. And instead, make a hasty retreat in the opposite direction.
Okay.
Good luck with that. Yeah, why not? They'll also cast invisibility on themselves.
Alright. Pastiche, terrified, exits stage right. Okay.
Passes through a field of ink, and nothing comes out of the other side.
That's so cool. Alright. Now it's time for the Olip's turn. On its turn, it's going to... it's muttering uncontrollably the entire time. Just, no. There's... everyone... infinite life. Infinite suffering. And then I need Makayla to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
A
9.
Oh no.
You take 10 psychic damage. And you must immediately use your reaction to make a melee weapon attack against Twig.
You're in luck, Twig. Because melee weapon attack hasn't been blessed yet. So it's -1 to hit. It's a 5.
I have the funniest idea for my next turn.
Oh no!
I like just the force of it just sort of causes me to swing, and it just barely goes over Twig's head. Sorry. Thinking about that thing's words. Still, like, not really looking at your eyes, and like just kind of staring directly at this monster.
She's trying to deceive you, Twig.
Twig's clutching his head, but he's looking up to Makayla after dodging that swing, and like his eyes are like wild and he's glaring.
Alright, and then it's going to float up 5 feet in the air. And move this way. That's its turn.
Okay.
We come to Makayla.
Oh, I didn't take the damage from it. Apply damage.
10 psychic damage.
Yep. Alright. Well, I'll leave your sphere of influence, Twig, and go off and charge into this thing that's yelling at us. Causing, pain with its words.
Yeah, words can hurt, who knew?
Yeah. Now I will bless up and attack. Hit twice.
Tell me how cool you are when you attack twice.
Well, let me roll first to see if I am cool at all.
Apt.
A 10 and a 12.
Neither of those hit, unfortunately.
Yeah, not very cool. Just kind of like unsteady swing. This thing kind of is like floating around. Is it like kind of vaguely incorporeal, or?
It is vaguely incorporeal, yeah. Like it's made out of like smoky motes and stuff. It holds a vaguely humanoid shape.
Yeah, I'm like just kind of hitting its like smoky after trail rather than it itself. Yeah, that's my turn.
Okay. Which brings us to Chuman. You hear this awful cacophony. Somebody is super upset.
Yeah, as soon as Chuman is hearing yelling, Twig panicking, and more yelling, panic yelling, he's gonna run out of the room to try and see what's happening down the corridor.
Okay. You can see... let's see. You can see Twig having just ducked a swing from Makayla. You can see like he's kind of wild-eyed, and you can see Makayla charge into this room and start trying to pin down whatever is in here. But it's a little curious why she would attack Twig. You see Mitch? Mitch is a cool owl, yeah.
Probably pissed off from hiking upstairs. Let's see. I can sort of see Makayla, and I guess the... Oh, it is kind of like hovering in the air now. But is it easily visible with the suit of armor in between?
If you can see it, but if you're gonna shoot it with your bow, it'll be a little difficult. It might get some cover.
Okay.
It's a hard shot.
Yeah, I think Chuma's gonna try it anyway, just to see.
No.
Bow.
Okay, from your
Difficult it is.
from your current position, you fire the arrow, knock it down, draw it back, and it impacts with the barrier of force in the middle of the room, and the arrow splatters and splinters into shards, or splinters into splinters.
Chuman was almost about to fire the second one. It was kind of like an automatic response for him to fire 2 arrows immediately, but as soon as he sees the first arrow splatter, he stops mid-pull. And what's he doing now? I believe that will be it. Yeah, that's it for Chuman.
Okay. Let's see here. At the end of the turn, at the end of your turn, Chuman, it drops concentration on... Oh, sorry, it drops the spell on Perceive Slight Hasty Decision, so Twig, you are no longer... you no longer have this like twisted crown of jagged iron on your head, and you're no longer wild-eyed. But then it also immediately looks down and looks over to you, still in the doorway, like half in and half out of a decision, and it forcefully yells at you, equally wild-eyed, and yells, "Everyone is dead! Learn this lesson and save yourself!" And I need you to make an intelligence saving throw against Fright.
Okay. Twig is very smart.
Oh, yeah, it has no effect.
Oh, you have advantage on intelligence saving throws?
Saving throws against fear.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Fear.
Alright, yeah. You sense that there's definitely a power in its words, but you shake it off and hold your head and try to set yourself straight, and we come to your turn.
Do you still think... Is he still trying to stab Makayla? Is that still going on in his head?
No.
Damn.
You don't know that, but no.
Okay, my genius idea... I mean, I can gonna be able to tell based on how he acts. My genius idea was to, like, phantasmal force Twig. Make him think the Aleph was Makayla.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
She's multiplying.
No, it'd be like a switch places sort of deal.
Yeah. Twig, like, shakes his head clear as the as the spell clears. And he looks at it and says, "We need to shut that thing up." And he's gonna run over and like slide underneath it. It's floating in the air, right?
Yeah, it's like 5 feet.
And he's gonna try to like jump up and take a stab with his Jambia.
Do it.
Since it's floating, would this count as flanked?
Perhaps not.
Okay.
13 just barely hits.
And then he's gonna take another swing with Bookmark.
Unfortunately, a 9 is not, though.
Okay, Callista.
You do get
that'll
sneak
be it for
attack
me?
because you do count as adjacent, but it's not flanking.
Yeah. That'll be it for me.
Okay. You hit with your 13, with your Jambia.
Oh, the 13 hit.
Just barely hits. That is its AC.
Sorry, I misheard.
Roll some damage. Omelette do damage.
That's going running off strength, not dex. Is that deliberate?
Oh, no, it is not. So that should be... Oh, wait, no. I'm not sure. The +4 is from Dex. I'm not sure.
Oh, what's the -4? What's the -1 then?
I'm not sure.
-1 would be your strength. But I'm not sure.
Oh, it's taking both.
Hang on. Yeah, that's a good question. -1? Oh,
Why-
is it
why are you
because...
doing -1? Oh, the cheap shot.
Is it because we made a goof? Hang on a second. Yeah, 1d4 -1? That's not right. Here.
He's still frightened.
I'm taking away that die and putting it in dice jail. Go ahead and roll me again.
Oh my goodness.
That one's broken.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
And then the cheap shot damage. So that would be 14.
Okay. 14 damage. As you jump up and carve through the smoke, it just kind of like dissipates, and you're cutting off just smoke. You sense that you caught and severed some of the essence that's holding this thing together, but you didn't do as much damage as you thought you would.
Okay.
At the let's see here, on the top of the round, Pastiche, you make a saving throw. You can repeat the charisma save.
Okay.
This is actually at the end of your turn. You're still frightened. Let's see here. What'll happen at the top of the round is the Olip, this smoky creature, is going to yell out, No one is trustworthy! And I need both Twig and Makayla, and Chuman to all roll charisma saves against fright.
Okay.
No!
6, a 5, 12.
Oh boy.
Alright. Frightened. So while you're frightened in this...
Wait, do I need to too?
No, you can't see it right now.
Oh, okay.
It's based on who can see it. Just above
Okay.
board. So while you guys are frightened of this creature, disadvantage on wisdom and intelligence throws. Which goes to Xalia's turn.
Yeah, what do I do now? She's probably gonna curiously just move up. And...
You can see...
Probably just try to...
Go ahead.
Probably just try to chill touch it, like, just grab it right in the mouth. Shut up.
Okay.
Nope.
Unfortunately, a 12 does not hit. As the hand comes for it to clam it up, it just swirls out of the way. No, you must listen. I'm trying to help.
The chill touch is gonna give it the middle finger before dissipating.
Damn. At the end of your turn, something deplorable happens. It raises its hands, and at first you don't see anything moving, but then you look around and you notice that it has raised 2 workbenches off of the ground that were previously fallen over, and it moves its hand in an arc and it throws both of them in an X fashion, one towards Twig, one towards Makayla.
Okay. Cool.
And I need you guys to roll a dexterity saving throw.
Everything this guy does is fucking saving throws.
Sorry.
The armor does nothing. 15.
Alright. Makayla, you dodge. And Twig, unfortunately, you take 19 bludgeoning damage as an entire workbench filled with vials and like scripts and drawers falling out collides with you. And
Too scared to dodge?
and bowls you over down onto the ground. You're prone as well. Makayla, you dodge out of the way. You see this happening, and then you just take a step back and then resume your battle stance. It collides into the vat in the corner and crashes. Water goes everywhere. The vat's completely broken, spills water all over the ground, mixing into the gold coins. There's a small puddle on the ground, and out pops, out slides with the water, is this darkened form previously in there, and it is humanoid shaped. It looks similar to the suit of armor, looks similar to the Stalker. It is covered in armor, and it is reminiscent of one of the beings that you fought like in that flooded room way back when in Baskar. It is prone. And that's it. We got a Mitch's turn.
Rude.
Mitch is going to fly across this room,
Hoot hoot.
taking the dash action to join Makayla and Twig.
Okay, there's an L.
Meanwhile, Pastiche, who can now see that this creature is not leaving the room and isn't a direct threat to them, is going to break their invisibility, reach out, and instinctively, Mitch will start grabbing at the apparition.
Okay. Super cool. Give him a little shocky shock. 11, unfortunately, does not hit.
Dang. Mitch flails a bit, but is new to this.
You'll get it, Mitch.
Lightning crackles between its talons as it tries to sink them into the smoky form, but gets only smoke. Okay. Let's see. That's your turn, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You can make a saving throw against Fright. It's a charisma. Still frightened. This thing is loud, terrifying. It's talking about all kinds of doom. Don't want any part of that. Let's see. The Olip's turn. On its turn, it's going to look around. It's clearly always in a permanent state of shock and panic. And it flies up away from you guys and swipes at one of the cords holding a dragon shard. And
May I take an attack of opportunity, please?
you may, yeah.
I would love to.
Go ahead.
And this technically counts when it was in the space, right?
Yes.
Between us, so it's at neutral because of flanking.
Well, it was already floating, so it would sort of be above both of us.
Oh.
So we
Right,
weren't
so-
really surrounding it.
Oh, so the flanking doesn't apply?
Not
I
in
don't
this-
think so.
Not in this specific
Okay.
instance.
Okay, then this is at disadvantage then.
I'm gonna crit anyway, so it's okay.
I do not
I
hit.
did not crit.
Okay. 13 is AC. It runs up, or flies up, swipes at one of the cords holding dragon shards, and the dragon shard falls in, punctures the suit of armor in the back. There is a lot of electricity crackling, and the suit of armor kind of like, what's the word? Trembles, and you can see it look up at you guys, and it joins the initiative.
Groot?
Dang, it goes first next time?
Oh my goodness.
That's its turn. We come to Makayla.
So fear, I can't move closer to it, right? I can't move closer to my source of fear.
Correct.
Okay. Alright, then I will use my bonus action. Actually, I bet this guy is weak. I cast Web.
Okay.
On it deleted my square, but that's fine. I can redraw it. It's a 20 feet cube. 20 feet cube. Huh. Yeah, it would like kind of fall on, like from above it, like this webbing net would fall down upon it and sort of strap it to the ground if it hits.
Okay, cool. I love it.
Dex saving throw is good.
It'll do that at the start of its next turn. Because web is a weird spell like that.
Yep. And then I use my bonus action to prep magic stones. That's the end of my turn.
You sound so sad.
I'm just tired. Oh, wait, I can move perpendicular to it, right?
Yeah, just not closer.
Yeah, I move. I mean, would this blocking off the entrance, would that be closer? Like diagonally around it?
As long as you don't move closer than 5 feet to it. So like,
This would actually be further.
you could go here.
Oh, okay, so I'd have to be there.
You can circle around you. You're not getting closer.
Yeah. And, yep, I'll just stand here in front of the doorway, block it off. That'll be my turn.
Okay.
And the fear is start of the round is when I make the...
At the end of your turn, make
Okay.
a charisma save.
Okay. I did not beat it.
This guy's so scary.
He's very scary.
Terrifying.
Very scary. Just yelling constantly about betrayal, truth, understanding stuff. Everybody's dead. That's kind of like heavy stuff.
Sounds like a fighting game player.
Let's go, Chuman.
Let's see. Chuman's gonna run to the wall on the side.
Are you frightened of it?
I am.
You can't.
I can't advance at all.
You cannot get closer to it at all.
Oh. It's in your line of sight still? Damn.
Oh. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Well then, I guess Chuman's just gonna turn around.
Turn
And that's
around. Turn around.
And that's it.
All right.
Oh no.
What you got, Twig?
Both of them are inside the web, right?
I mean, you could
They're
still
in
summon
the
your
moment.
Wildfire Spirit and maybe have that move you, for what it's worth.
It can't go that far.
No, you could summon it near you, and it could it might be able to teleport you, because it wouldn't be you moving; it'd be it moving you. Maybe I don't know exactly how that rules out, but still would be good use of bonus action to summon it. But whatever, you've already ended your turn. No food for that.
Twig's just gonna standing up from prone uses half my movement, right?
Half of your speed. Yeah.
Okay. So he's gonna stand up. And he's sort of gonna circle around it. And on his way past, he's gonna reach into his backpack. And toss out some blades.
Okay. Bring.
So he throws out a stiletto, a dagger, and the watermelon slicer.
Yeah,
And they
begin
start
circling
spinning around,
Yeah.
rapidly approaching. Yeah. So I have 15 feet of movement. So if I dash, that'll be another 15.
If you dash, you get 30 more. 'Cause
Okay.
dashes move your speed.
Why are you slowed?
I had to stand up from prone.
Oh, right.
I think I'll just move here actually.
Okay.
So that will be my turn.
Cool. At the top of the round, the smoky dude is yelling, freaking out, inconsolable. They'll see you killed. You must do it first. And the armored fellow, this person that you kind of understand to be a wanderer, gets up, pulls out a Kopesh, this kind of slightly curved underside sword, and hefts it up and slashes the air in front of him, and there is an arc of negative energy that spins towards Makayla.
Well, can I get a DC 15 saving throw from him first?
You absolutely can. I forgot about web already. I even told myself, don't forget.
Let's go.
Right, yeah, it's restrained.
It is restrained.
Means attack rolls have... no, it doesn't matter. Their attack rolls don't do anything. Nothing changes. Oh no, the creature's attack rolls have disadvantage. Yeah,
I was
okay.
like, what do you mean? That's a great way to do it. It takes some considerable force as it just kind of grunts. It rolled a 1 and a natural 20.
Nice.
Min-maxing.
Yikes.
You're about to take
I imagine,
4d12.
This bolt, just narrowly, Makayla, ducks out of the way, slashes into the wall, and a huge chunk of it is just blasted off.
Twig flinches as he's showered with debris.
I love it. You guys' turn. Xalia.
Oh shit! Right, you said you guys is.
It is you guys. It's actually Xalia, Mitch, and Pastiche at the same time because group initiative.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A load of that.
Fucking fuck it. We're gonna kill touch it. Like just poke it in the eyes.
Okay.
The Three Stooges technique.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Go ahead, give me an attack roll. We don't know if it's for Shane.
I hit the button and it is giving me an icon right now.
Oh, okay.
It's
Founder, you go buggy.
it's I can't even click the attack button anymore. When I hover over it, it's giving me a red.
No.
Oh no. That is a double click on your token and use the chill touch from there. Same thing?
Well, I'll actually pop something up this time, so now we actually roll.
Yep, there you go.
A 13 hits.
Bing boom. Just poke it directly in the eyes.
Ouch. 2d8. That hurts.
And then she's gonna scamper around the corner.
Scamper.
Meanwhile, Mitch is going to continue harassing it while Pastiche fails to get their bearings. I believe I have disadvantage this time because he's entered my line of sight.
Yes. That is true. Twig, you can make a charisma save at the end of your turn if you haven't already. From fright. 11 unfortunately doesn't hit.
Jeez.
Mitch is just flapping around and squawking.
Okay. Flap, squat, hoot. We're gonna find out if the Olive is restrained.
It is.
It is.
This is the dagger damage.
Sick.
What? Cool.
As the daggers tear into it, and everyone's kind of collaborating, Xalia pokes it in the eyes. You notice it kind of deteriorating and struggling to hold its form. And this causes it to... Let's see here. This causes it to get a little desperate. It attempts to fly out towards Twig, hands outstretched, then it is pulled back by the web. And then instead, knowing that it cannot get to Twig, it's held still, it's flipping. No, don't crush me again! They're all around. Betrayers! And I need Twig to make a... let's see here. Actually, no, sorry. I need both Twig and Makayla to make a wisdom saving throw against fright.
And these are at disadvantage.
If
Because
you're
of
already
the
frightened,
fear?
that's right.
Yeah.
Let's go last minute rollover.
Okay, nice. You are quickly, like, what flashes before your eyes is just the arduousness of this whole ordeal that you're undertaking, and so for a moment, Twig, at your feet, you see deceased incarnations turned into wanderers of everyone of Rubidoux. Anna looks at you and just like reaches up and claws at you. Makayla, you see Your betrothed and beloved also at the ground, just rolling over, freshly coated in blood. And then you blink and flash it away, and you steel yourself against this. It looks like it's trying to trick you with its words. It is your turn.
It is my turn. Kayla kind of suddenly a lot angrier that it would bring up would try and like bring up memories of departed loved ones. Would throw some. I'm still frightened, right? So I can't move forward, but I can throw some magic stones at this thing.
You can.
At neutral, because it is restrained.
Yes.
So 1. Oh, almost a 1. It's a 2. So a 9 that misses, and an 11 does not hit either.
No.
Wow, Makayla just can't hit today. And that is my turn.
Shaken. Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't need to use anything else.
Okay.
That's the turn.
You can.
Which
Charisma
means, I mean, I guess if I haven't moved, I'm not moving, so, I get, like, even though I don't think it'll matter, my armor effect.
Oh,
for,
yeah. The shiny glow of the runes.
Mm-hmm.
You're still in, like, dim light everywhere, but yeah, there's enough light here. We'll say that.
Okay.
Still frightened.
Still fighting.
Chuman.
Let's see. Check something real quick. Oops. I think Chuman will turn back around. Technically hoping that it's gone. When it realizes that it's not.
Yeah.
He gets a shiver kind of going down his spine. And decides to summon his Wildfire. And we'll summon it.
Cool. Where are we putting it?
We're putting it.
Nice. You guys watch as bursting from a gout of like a volcano fissure comes out a serpentine figure wreathed and composed of magma lava dripping with fire. It coils around and it has this almost kind of like furred crest all the way back down its back, just of fur-like fire. It's blazing behind it. It twists around and looks around. Something exploded.
Let's see, and I cannot move forward, but I'll command it to at least. Oh, can I actually do that? Oh.
Yeah, you should be able to, on the turn you summon it, move it. It technically, I think...
In combat, it shares your initiative count, but it goes after you always.
You're right.
And you can tell it to do something, and it will do that.
You need to use a bonus action specifically for using one of its actions, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And
right.
And it can move up to its speed. You don't have to tell it to do that, but you tell it to do an action.
Right. I'm just checking something real quick.
Sure.
Give me a second. I can't do that. Okay. Yeah, and I'll just tell it to move closer. At the thing that I just point to. I just indescribably just point towards it.
Yeah. slithers around through the air, leaving a slight little fire trail that coasts behind it and then burns out.
And will be it for my turn.
I believe you can use your... If it's in range for its attack, you can use your bonus action to command it to attack. Whatever, if you can see something.
Oh yeah, I'm reading 2 different...
Because that was a full action to summon it, because you are not a moon druid.
Oh yeah, you are correct.
Yeah, so use your action to summon the Wildfire Spirit, and you can use your bonus action to command it.
Okay. And then I'll command it to use Flame Seed at the alert.
Cool. At the Olive. Go ahead and put that in the chat and tell me how cool it is.
So after the Wildfire Spirit summons and snakes around the barrier, once as I yell about attacking the Olive, it charges up
Roll against advantage.
Oh, because of restraint, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, 17 hits.
What are those numbers on this roll?
Don't worry about it.
It charges what's initially a small fireball, and then just kind of like smacks it on the forehead after it releases like a little small pellet.
Okay.
A pretty fast pellet.
I'm pretty sure the fire
Is it?
explodes the web.
Does it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the webs are flammable.
Oh, I mean,
That means they take burning damage.
Yep.
cool.
So yeah, this seed that starts in front of this serpentine creature's face just grows larger, and then patooey, spews a little bead of concentrated fire energy, and it travels past Makayla and meets the Owlet, and it suddenly explodes just in a gout of flame and does some fire damage. Roll me 2d4.
I mean, I think that happens when they start their turn there, but I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I could just roll it.
Yeah.
Don't roll lowest rolls.
Every little bit helps.
Mhm.
And that's it for my turn.
Okay, cool. We come to Twig.
I do the charisma save,
Yes.
right? Okay.
No.
Unfortunately, you're still frightened.
Twig
One day.
is shaken by the vision of his friends from the past, but he takes a deep breath and steadies himself by thinking of his friends that are here right now. And he takes his Jambia, flips it over to hold it by the blade end, and throws it at the Owlet.
That's cool. Go ahead. Nah. I was just thinking, like that was a cool little tie-in too. Yeah.
The power of the tie-in.
The power of friendship.
Jesus Christ.
All right. Let's see
Love
here.
to see it.
4. Nice. Even with the Jambia not quite able to cut away efficiently at this creature, tell me how it defeats it.
As Twig throws the Jambia at this like burning spirit, it somehow pierces like some vital part in the middle of it, and it like scatters into shadows as the Jambia goes sailing through.
Sick. And then it just lands. You hear like a as it lands point first in a workbench. The creature shrieks and falls back, whoosh, dissipating wisps of smoke going everywhere. This gruesome fate your nightmare. Run! Run as far as you can! Escape! And it explodes into a million death notes.
Finally.
Would that end the fear, or can we just save against it?
That ends the fear.
Oh,
Finally, something shut that thing up. Thank you, Twig.
Let's see.
Twig just nods.
Tell me how you react when I throw another crescent wave at Makayla.
Oof.
It just lifts it up.
Just bash it, like, just lift up my shield, and it just stands strong against it.
Okay.
Dissipates against.
I think all of you working together, since I haven't, since this creature hasn't hit Makayla twice in as many times, I think all of you working together can easily defeat this thing.
No way.
So go ahead and tell me how it happens.
I don't think Xalia even knows that's there. She's going back to pacing.
Yeah, I guess as the web burns up around it, I mean, Makayla would sort of swoop in and just hit it with swing at it with Untitled Unfinished, and like kind of knock it right back into the container it fell out of.
Okay. Roll me a d20.
Okay. Just a flat d20.
Yes, please.
A 19.
Yo, sick? Okay, yeah, that exactly happens. You rush forward with the web burning up, harming it. You just give it a good whack across this mega section, and it bowls over back into the vat. Boom, 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 and it actually causes the dragon shard to crack and dissipate and fall out of the wanderer, and it returns to motionless. It doesn't even have a reaction to that. It's just, and then it just stays there, head slightly tilted, looking towards the ground, as it has no strength left. And as the room falls silent, save for your labored breathing,
Wait, hold on.
holding on.
Web is a cube, isn't it?
Yes.
I
Apparently.
think for the first turn,
Is it just for the first turn?
unless it has something to attach to. I'd have to read the wording again.
Yeah, it throws a cube, or like creates a cube, and then it kind of like attaches to things. And then it's a
It
cube
feels
of
like
web.
20-foot cube. The web, if the web isn't anchored between solid points, it will go out, layer on the floor. It will
Okay.
collapse on itself.
In a room like this, it could probably stay a cube, I think.
Yeah.
Oh no!
I don't. Mitch wasn't. Oh,
Mitch,
I don't think Mitch was ever in it.
you had
He
burst.
wasn't.
Was
was
Mitch not in it?
He was just outside of it.
Yeah, I think
It was-
I thought
I think it was placed to avoid Mitch.
Okay. Alright.
Right?
But
Uh,
You
he
got away
was.
scot-free this time, Mitch.
And then I think it was like what here?
Yeah, the template was
Oh,
Oh, okay.
It's sort
I
of
see.
maybe
Alright.
Mitch was. Yeah.
He was just barely outside. He could feel the heat.
Well, I mean, do we want to kill Mitch or not? I'm fine either way.
I mean,
No!
Well,
would
technically,
never.
I only did 3, correct?
Well, Mitch never started its turn there, so we're fine. We're fine.
Oh, right.
In the burning web, you know.
All right.
I ended concentration. We're fine.
I rescind my statement. The room is not quiet. The room is full of like panicked squawks and shrieks and hoots as an owl flies out of the blaze. Back to Pastiche. Feathers
Caused that
singed.
fire? I look behind me. See the... Oops. Not close the door. See the fire snake. Or... Right, it's sort of like a snake serpent-like thing, right?
It is a snake.
And like what? Is that one of yours? Just generally calls into the room,
Gets ready to kill.
looks around, pointing staff at fire snake.
Go ahead.
Well, it isn't mine.
Chuman finally kind of not feeling the frightening figure anymore, kind of fully walks through the corridor. What was that racket over there?
Some kind of tortured soul, it would seem. Dealt with now, hopefully, at somewhat peace. But points still at Flame Snake. There is still the matter of whatever this is.
My apologies, I've never explained it to you all.
Mm-hmm.
It is the other soul that resides in the Erys eye that I have. It is friendly. It is not considered to help us, at least.
I see. Okay, well... was this... what was inside you when you were sort of acting... not like yourself? Those other times?
Yes. Oh.
Okay.
I assume so. I was not fully aware of it before.
I see. You learned of this recently?
Oh, during our time in Luxnox, yes. I had a little bit of time with a foul-mouthed goblin, to say the least. But she was very informative of things that I was not aware of, and thus came about the spirit.
Was she... well, did she seem as old as the earth itself? Like, yay high? Constantly insulting you?
Yes. Have you two met each other before?
Makayla has the face of, like, she can't hide her smile, but what she says is like, I cannot stand this woman. Sends a million rats at my bed to leave 20,000 messages and shows up to you, doesn't even say hi. We were in the city for days. Yes, I believe you met mentor of sorts, Krail. Well...
Raikel, huh?
We can discuss this later, another time. But that is, well... good that I guess you, too. Well, good that she didn't kill you, I guess. And...
What?
I'll just stop the conversation and just go back into this room.
And just look over at Pastiche in confusion.
Don't look at me. Pastiche will follow Makayla.
Twig is just gonna start, like, scanning the papers and recordings in the room, trying to look for anything mentioning his slab or the Phoenix or anything related to that.
Sure, make an investigation check.
Chuman takes a moment and finally joins the rest of the group. That killed me.
Serpentine figure kind of coils around you for a moment. That doesn't stay there or anything, just slithers around you and then just looks around. Appears to be taking in the situation and surroundings that it's in. And then falls in behind you, Chuman.
Okay.
The stuff you find, Twig, yeah. There's some stuff here. So there's those 2 vats, which you now acknowledge contain the one that is yet unbroken. Contain some kind of wanderer covered in armor and like a mask. There's a... Let's see here. There's actually a lot in this room. This room is crammed. It takes you some time to sift through it all, really. But you find a book. You find many papers. You find that... Let's see here. Probably you find a random piece of paper that says... sorry, that doesn't say. Like, it's a diagram. It shows a dragon shard, just like a little rhomboid kind of thing. And then it has a line pointing to a humanoid body. Then below it, it says, remove soul first, otherwise soul battle will occur. You find another random piece of paper that says souls gravitate to the closest... Sorry, it doesn't have the definite article there. It doesn't have the word the. Souls gravitate to closest dragon shard. Infuse soul finder with magical power to locate missing. And then just tiring of these random pieces of paper, you do find like a ton of them that have all these things, but your attention drifts to the book. And this book appears to be some kind of journal that is written from the perspective of someone descending into madness. It starts off level-headed enough, detailing their trek across Khorzaire and hiring a moonlight shepherd and a band of mercenaries to explore a pyramid. There's an entry about how terrible the hallway was and how everyone was crushed by the ceiling. The shepherd fled and he's stuck here with the mercs. There's another entry that writes about how they hid when the mercs dropped and broke a device in the corner and were subsequently slaughtered by some dog creature. Then it details that dragon shards hold souls. Observing them from the slaughtered mercenaries rise into the dragon shards above. The book calls the large contraption a soul finder, and a hypothesis is posed from the journal that the constructs seen throughout the pyramid are vessels to receive souls. It appears that this person has gone mad from the revelation of what transpires here, and the penmanship dissolves into scribbles, writing single words over and over, with holes made in the pages from scratching the pen in the paper. And the words are bird, need, life, and for the next several pages, die. In all caps.
I see. Twig's gonna hang on to that journal.
Pretty provocative way of losing your mind.
As you all gather around and look at more pieces of paper and piece together more things. Each piece of paper that is just disheveled, like ripped out of books, it looks like. There's many books that have been removed and then the paper's strewn across the floor. So you each learn another clue and another clue and more things about what drove this person to go beyond their sanity. you cast a cautious glaze over to this large tank that holds another wanderer in it, and you look at this large contraption in the southwest corner, amid the wreckage of workbenches and papers and vials and all sorts of other things. And it's a strange contraption. It appears to have like a central globe, many gears able to turn it, has sets of concentric rings around it, and many other globes sitting atop more cogs and more gears. And in the middle, there is a recess. It looks vaguely circular. You can see some quartz dust on it and that kind of thing. And as you all look around, watched by a skull sitting on top of a workbench. That's where we're on tonight's session.